Hi there, and welcome to episode 34, which I have entitled, I have not asked permission for this yet, Zion, our Lord and Saviour. My name's Harry. His name
And
is...
my name is Ben. I'm doing the little crucifix across my thing and putting my hands together because Zion really is the Lord and Savior for the Pelicans at the moment.
Hi, my name is... What? My name is... Who? I,
uh, Slim Zion.
it's so fun. Let's start straight off with it's so fun seeing Zion play after him missing all of last year.
Yeah, so good to see him back and looking dominant as ever. So good.
He's looking... honestly, the Pelicans are looking scary.
Yeah, genuinely looking like a terrifying team at the moment. Do we want to get into Zion first, or do we want to get into just a kind of overview of the team currently?
Let's talk about Zion and the team, and then we can talk about their controversy a little bit later.
Okay, all right. So, first thing is just coming into the season. I think we both were kind of like ready for the Pelicans to take a step up, look a bit stronger. I don't think we expect them to be first in the West, though.
No, I've definitely been calling that for the last year or two that they should be better than what they are.
Yep.
But even I will admit, actually, I knew they were going to be first in the West. What are you talking about, Ben?
Hey, we can only make the call if it's on our board. If it's written down, then we can get to make the claim.
I definitely called they would improve, but
Yep.
if you told me last year that I'd wake up and the Pelicans would be first in the West, I would have said that you were dreaming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'd been making the kind of mid-season moves last season, getting their pieces together, waiting for Zion to get back healthy, and yeah, I think everything's kind of lined up for them at the moment. So I guess just a little bit of a stat recap before we get into the juicy bits. Obviously, yeah, they're first in the West currently, but their offense, in terms of offense, they're fifth in the league for points per game and field goal percentage, seventh in rebounds, seventh in assists, second in steals. They're honestly just all round solid. It's not like they're just dominating on the offensive end or just defensively. They've put together a team which is kind of holding its own defensively too, which I didn't expect with guys like CJ, predominantly offensive player, like Ingram, guys like that, who definitely are crazy scorers, but defensively they're actually a pretty solid team too.
Ingram's injured at the moment, isn't he? So they've been doing
Yeah,
quite
it's
well without Ingram.
Yeah, and it's a big thing that they're keeping it together with him gone too, because he was bringing about 20 points a game for them. So with him gone, they really need to step up. But you've got guys like CJ dropping 17 a game, Zion on an absolute tear, 25 points a game at the moment. They've got that depth, they've got those options. Valanciunas as well. He's been a little bit slow in the last few games, but had a few big ones here and there. But yeah, just that depth we were talking about is coming clutch.
Pelicans are top 10 for defense. For points allowed, they're top 10.
Yep.
They're ninth for
second in steals as well.
Second in steals. Okay, what are they up for rebounds? Hold up.
Seventh in
for
the league
rebounds. Hold up. That means they've got a top 10 defense.
Yep. Which I wouldn't have expected whatsoever.
That means that they have a top 5 offense.
Yep.
And a top 10 defense. Does that mean that we could... That means, Mr. Benjamin, that is a potential championship winning team.
Exactly. Because I think when I was looking at least what I was thinking when they were bringing their team back, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a genuinely scary offensive team. They're going to be kind of a little bit Brooklyn Nets-esque, perhaps, in terms of just offensive power. But the fact that they've kind of brought the defense together, and I know that Alvarado gets a lot of hype when he's still technically just a role player, but I feel like that kind of mentality across the team, I think that's kind of, I don't know, I reckon spurring them on more defensively, because the hustle that's out there, they know they're not a bottom of the West team anymore. They know that they're a contender, and even the young guys like Herb Jones and guys like that are really, Trey Murphy as well, putting in the hustle, and this looks like a team that's fired up, absolutely fired up.
The stats don't lie. If you are a top 10 defense and you're a top 5 offense, it is absolutely statistically possible for you to win the championship.
100%.
And have you watched any of the clips from these guys' games recently?
Oh, yeah. I've been watching a
The
ton of clips because
the
they're entertaining.
the Pelicans crowds have been showing up, and they have been loud.
Yep. New Orleans has been absolutely going off, which love to see it.
They've been getting turned, dude. Honestly, some of those clips from the Suns games felt like they were back in the playoffs from last year. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely blowing the roof off.
Oh, the atmosphere is amazing, and there's a little bit of that rivalry, which I think we'll get into a bit later, but against teams like the Suns, which really gets them fired up even more. But yeah, just even most of the games they're playing, because I think in the last 10 they're about 8-2.
Yep.
It's just that momentum they're carrying through. They were on a 7-game win streak, which actually just got snapped by the Jazz, funnily enough, of all
It's
teams.
always the Jazz.
Which was a bit of a surprise. But other than that, it's not like they've been playing easy teams. They've been going up against other contenders in the West too, and still looking strong.
Looking really good. Like, if you just look at their last couple of games, like the last, like, look at this list. Like, they've beaten the Suns, they've beaten the Nuggets, they beat the Raptors, they beat the Warriors, they've beaten the Grizzlies, Warriors again, beat the Clippers, beat the Mavs. Like, they're beating people that they, like, this isn't like they've got a nice, like, cruisy streak against low end teams. Like, I cut out all the crap teams like the Pistons and the Spurs and the Thunder, but like, they're beating good teams.
Yeah, they're pretty much like almost giving us a little preview of maybe like the Western Conference Finals, because they're going up against all these like teams that could be pushing deep into the West playoffs, and yeah, pretty much showing them up. So I'm really 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 keen. I reckon they're going to make a good playoff run.
Yeah, look, and to finish out, they've played really well without Brandon Ingram, which I think is like one of the big pillars of this team. But Zion is 12th in the league for field goal efficiency. I don't think you need anything else.
Yeah,
How do you stop him? Did you see those clips? Oh, who was it against? Where I think it was like the Grizzlies or Memphis, where they were like literally like bear hugging him, and he was still jumping through them to get the and one. Like, there was one clip where they completely hugged him, and he still went through them.
Yeah, I mean, I think because he's been out for a while, we've kind of forgotten just how strong this guy is, but how athletic at the same time. Like, it's crazy. He gets all of that weight up so explosively, and yeah, looking at guys, obviously like in the game against the Jazz recently, he just fully bodied Walker Kessler, who's like a good like half a foot taller than him. To be fair, he's a rookie, but just guys that are way bigger, he's still powering through just with his athleticism. It's absolutely crazy to watch. So get some good looks.
Absolutely wild. I love seeing that Memphis are up there.
Yeah.
Did we curse them a little bit? Because like, we weren't super happy with their off season.
Yeah, so I think for me, as a little bit of a Grizzlies fan, if I must admit, it looks like they went lateral. Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for them, but they've taken steps sideways and backwards, I think, off the last season. I think missing guys like D'Anthony Melton. I think those bench pieces that kind of kept them in there when their stars were off. Missing guys like that has set them back a little bit, I think. They've still got like most of their core. Like, they still got obviously Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark, Steven Adams. They got most of their guys, Dylan Brooks. But I feel like just those little bench pieces are going to slow them down a little bit. I mean, they are in second currently, so they're still obviously looking strong. But just that depth, like we discuss a lot of the times, when you come to a 7-game series, like, you don't use your bench as much, but you certainly need those options available. You need to adjust.
I was just about to say that for me right now, Memphis is a fantastic regular season team, but I don't think has what it takes to get through a 7-game series.
Yeah, I think they play with a lot of, I mean, Ja kind of sums up a lot of the spirit of the team, but they play with a lot of intensity, pace, which is always good. But I think in a 7-game series, you can adjust, you can slow down, and you can certainly lock down Ja, because we know what happens to superstars in the playoffs. We see how teams just shut them down and make the rest of the team play, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't think the guys quite have the personnel. Maybe, I mean, look, Desmond Bane has taken leaps and bounds. He's really improved as well. So they've got options, but I don't know.
Ja has a heavy usage rate though.
Yeah, I think we discussed in the previous episode 2 ago, in terms of the top usage of players in the league, and he was definitely up there in the top. I think top 2 or 3.
Yes,
after Luka.
he's fourth. Just as a
Okay,
fun
yep.
fact, Zion's usage rate is 32 in the league, 32nd in the league, I should say, at 27.5, because I feel like the Pelicans, like they've got like when they need a point, just give it to Zion, but they're not relying on Zion the same way that other teams do.
That is actually a great point.
Star
Because
players.
Ja is being used pretty much every possession, more or less, getting 27 points a game, which is obviously decent productivity. But Zion's averaging only just under that 25 points a game, but isn't having to do every single possession. Like you said, they've got other options. And I think fatigue, when it comes to end of the season playoffs, 7-game series, he's going to have the down games, and that's going to be where they lose. So they need to have the other options.
You need to have other options. And I just don't, when I look at this Grizzlies team, I just don't see a huge amount that, like, if Ja has a bad game, like, who do they give it to?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Bane step up some big games. Dylan Brooks, when he's healthy, having some decent games. But I just don't see the consistency. As much as I love these youngsters, like, I think they've honestly surprised people. I think they've exceeded expectations. But yeah, I think they're not as experienced group. I think that's what we need to see more, is some deep playoff runs to get them up to speed with the playoffs a bit more. So
just a bit more. Yeah, I just, at the moment, I'm still classing these guys as a great regular season team, but I'm just not sure about the playoffs. Sorry, Grizz. And now you're going to go with
following these teams that do well in the regular season, then terrible in the playoffs. It's like I'm setting myself up for heartbreak.
It's the curse of Ben. But no, but you see, now that I've said this, now they're going to go win the conference finals or something ridiculous like that, just to prove me wrong.
I'm happy for you to jinx it that way, because I'd like to see them do well.
And the other thing, so while we're talking, I think we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the West, because we did last week talk a lot about the East.
Yep.
But is Kawhi Leonard back? Did I just?
Yes. So this is he played today. He did get restricted minutes. Like, you actually saw him being benched, kind of complaining about it. He was like ready to play more, but got the call from Ty Lue to come off. And this is kind of what I was talking about with like load management. How it's like not necessarily just like them not playing games at all, but like they're still restricting his minutes just to keep him in like healthy state until the end.
He
of the
played
season,
today. So. He played 31 minutes. That's barely a minutes restriction.
Yeah, I suppose that's actually decent minutes, but like you could see him wanting to keep playing more. I think he's frustrated, but like it's for the best for the team, I suppose.
I was just about to talk smack about the Clippers, and now all their players are back. So they're currently in 6th at the moment. And to be fair, I do need to specify that pretty much fourth down to 8th is like 1 game difference, really. Oh, it's still insane.
It's so juicy, I love it. But the Clippers have put together a few decent performances. I think having Kawhi back has been very helpful. Paul George still there. John Wall
injured at the moment.
Well, he played he played against Washington, which is really wholesome. Nice to see him go back home and show the love.
Because I was about to be like, oh, the Clippers are like somehow holding on to be in 6th. Like, where are their good players? And I went to go look at their injury report, and all their good players are back. They've got Norman Powell out at the moment, and John Wall with Zubac on day-to-day. And if I want to be a really big if Kawhi Leonard and Paul George can stay healthy, I still rate this LA Clippers team quite highly on paper. But there's a big but too as well. There's a big if and there's a big but.
Okay.
A big
like Charles Barkley, big but.
Yeah. Yep. I was going to say big butts, I can't lie, but but like previous years, because they load manage Kawhi pretty heavily, I'm concerned that the Clippers haven't had enough time to get that consistency playing together, getting on that. What's that word I'm after? There's a word I want, Ben.
Same wavelength?
that works. Not exactly the word I was after, but that will do.
Yeah. Getting chemistry back.
Chemistry. That's the word I wanted. I like chemistry. And I don't think they're going to have enough time to get it.
Yeah. I think, because, obviously it's a benefit having him back, but there is going to be that little adjustment phase. I mean, they have played with him for, a couple of years. So it shouldn't be a crazy adjustment, but it'll still be a little bit of adjustment phase.
But you need those minutes that over the whole season so that when you get into playoffs, you've got that chemistry straight away.
Yeah, I've got the game plan down.
And
That's true.
Especially when things get hard, you need to have that playing time together. And, remember, like, during the regular season, normally Paul George is the leader because Kawhi is getting rested every second game. And then when you get to playoffs, you're expecting Kawhi to do everything. And, of course, there's going to be a little bit of disconnect.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like the Clippers I'm pretty sure Vegas odds put them first in the West this season, if I recall, first or second. But they're a lot of people's number one team. I don't know what it is, but I just don't see it. Like, I see them as strong. I think everyone's been on the hype train since they got Paul George and Kawhi, obviously both great players. But I think they've just constantly been rated a little bit higher, and they've never quite delivered. Like, they had that series against Dallas last playoffs. I think it was all right, or maybe it was playoffs before. But they've had okay playoff runs, but never really crazy. Do you think that Kawhi, like, firing on all cylinders is like enough? Because he pretty much dragged the Toronto team to the finals, and people are putting him like up there, like 30 greatest players of all time. I don't know if I'm being rude, but I don't rate him quite that highly just yet.
First off, the Clippers are definitely getting the LA treatment. The LA people want LA teams to win, and
that's a bit of a bias.
But I think Kawhi is good, but his injuries are holding him back from being a great. And I don't think he has enough knee left.
Yeah. It's looking a little dicey at this point.
He barely got through the season with Toronto, and they pretty much, like, carried... They took care of the regular season, and he took care of the postseason. Yeah. But I feel like the Clippers need a little bit more help to get through the regular season. Well, you know what? They're doing all right. I'll have to give them props. They're doing all right. I just don't know if Kawhi has enough knee left to go 100% through the playoffs. You'll have a back-to-back, and it's just if you're spending the whole regular season not playing back-to-backs, and then suddenly in playoffs you're expected to play back-to-backs, I don't think his knees have got it.
Yeah, and on top of that as well, like if you're winning series like 4-0, 4-1, something like that, that's fewer games, you have a bit more recovery time. But if they're going to 7 games, which they have a lot in the Clippers' past playoff history last few years, it's going to 7 games, that's just extra wear and tear, and extra they're going to need Kawhi to step up. And that could just be the tipping point. It's just too much for him and for the team. Yeah,
takes one awkward fall for him to tear his knee apart.
Which, touch wood, hope it doesn't happen. But it's just interesting because he's obviously an incredibly great player, but it's just looking at this point, injury-wise, it's looking a bit scary. So
he's missed so much of this season already, and he's coming back. So look, you know what? Do you want to put something on the board? I'll put something on the board.
Let's do
I'll
it.
put something on the board right now. The Clippers won't win the championship this year.
All right, lock that in. I'm happy to back that up too.
Look, do I put it down there? You know what? Yeah, no. Let's. I'll take it one step further. I don't think they're going to make the conference finals either.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the West is pretty stacked, and I don't think come playoffs that they'll be consistent enough. So we're saying Clips won't make the conference finals?
No.
All right, let's lock it in.
They'll get a first or second round exit,
which is a pretty big call because most odds have them at least making conference finals. So we'll see.
Last year they had the Lakers making the winning the West last year. Vegas doesn't know what they're talking about.
I kind of love it. It's pretty entertaining to see their odds compared to what actually happens.
talking about? I got no clue.
Speaking of going against the odds, I just want to quickly touch on this while we're in the West, because just below the Clippers are the Sacramento Kings, currently in seventh. I have to show some of these lower teams some love because
non-news.
All right, I just want to drop a couple facts because at the moment they're sitting in seventh, but they are only half a game behind fourth. At the moment, they are second in the league for points per game. They are fifth in the league for assists per game. Fourth in field goal percentage. Hold on now, because I'm just shouting them out. I'm not saying they're going to win the finals or anything. I'm not going that far, but I'm just saying this team has certainly improved, which I did not expect, because the Sabonis trade, getting rid of Halliburton, I'm like, what is this team doing? They're not rebuilding. They're taking steps backwards. But I don't know what it is, but De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis in particular, who I think I criticized last season, because I'm like, they should have traded Fox, should have kept Halliburton. Big change I noticed is their three-point percentage. Sabonis has gone from a 31% shooter last season, not that good, to 37, almost 38% three-point shooter, which is pretty respectable, especially for a big.
Okay.
And more impressively, and this is what I find crazy, you've got De'Aaron Fox. He's never been a crazy good three-point shooter, averaging around about 30% in his career. Last season was 29.7. He's up to 36.5% from three. He's also taking an extra three per game, making almost an extra three total per game. And I'm not saying that it's just these two guys. I think the team as a whole is getting better looks. Because if you look back at what I mentioned, they're currently fifth in assists, second in points, and their field goal percentage overall is fourth in the league. So I think they're just getting efficient looks. I don't know what it is. If Mike Brown, I'm pretty sure Mike Brown's the coach still. Yeah, he is. I don't know what he's doing. If he's giving them some of Mike's magic stuff, because the team's just efficient. Which I don't know. I haven't seen that in a Kings team since probably 2001. So
well, efficient for a Kings team.
Well, efficient for the league too. Fourth overall in field goal percentage. So just a shout out to the Kings, as I think overall they're improving.
You know how we were talking about the Memphis Grizzlies being a regular season team?
Yep.
That is the King. Like, that is, if there was someone more of a regular season team than Memphis, it's the Kings.
That's still an improvement because they haven't even been a regular season team in the last few years.
Look, I'll give it to the Kings. They have a really, really, really low bar to hurdle over.
That's true.
But I'm not impressed. It's like,
I think look, it's yet to be seen.
They're 15 and 12. They're like a 0.55 team at best. I'm sorry. It's just because the bottom half of the West. Well, actually, can I say? I don't know if I can say that. Golden State are underneath the Sacramento Kings, but they're not near the bottom. But I don't know. I'm not that impressed with the people underneath them. So, like, I guess they get.
The Kings are ahead of the Jazz, Mavericks, Warriors, Timberwolves. I think yes, it's early in the season. I don't think we should be expecting them to make a deep playoff run. But what I might even put on the board is the Kings will at least make the play-ins, because I don't think they've even done that in quite a while. So I'll at least say that they're looking like a play-in team if they can keep it up. But I will agree with you. It is regular season. It's probably quite similar to what we're talking about. Going to the playoffs, and they're going to be good.
How confident are you that the Sacramento Kings will make the play-in?
Look, I mean, to be honest, I don't have much confidence in the Kings, but I'll put it on the board. I will put on the board the Kings will make the play-ins at least.
How about
okay.
I've got a deal for you. Not as bad as my icy hot, icy spicy, but
okay.
But let's put something on this. If the Sacramento Kings don't make the play-in, you have to do the cinnamon challenge.
Oh. Okay, I was also thinking like really hot sauce, but yeah, cinnamon.
What would you prefer? I was gonna do the cinnamon challenge because like it sucks, but it's not that bad.
Yeah,
just choke a little bit. But like, if you want to put yourself through like 20 minutes of pain with hot sauce, we could do that too. Like, put something on this, Ben. Show me that you believe in the Kings, because I don't.
Personally, I was gonna lean towards hot sauce, like the hot ones, like the hottest end of the hot ones. But I'm gonna go cinnamon challenge just because the choking and the Kings is a perfect combo. So I think that makes more sense.
If the Kings choke, you have to choke with them.
Yeah. I think that works thematically. So yeah, lock that in.
Okay, and so
don't make the plans.
Just to agree on the rules, soup spoon or like a normal like? I wanna clarify the spoon sizeage now.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going all in. I'll say like big spoon. I'll say big spoon.
Big spoon. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I can work with that. I can work with big spoon.
Yep. Come on, Kings. I'm rooting for you now. Come on. Break that playoff drought. That's the thing. 16, 17 years it's been. Come on, guys.
Now you're really invested.
Yeah, I'm hyped now.
Okay. How are we doing for time? We're doing great. Before we talk about... I've got a really interesting topic that I want to talk about. I've got one question for you.
Okay.
It's quite important. It's actually, you know what? This is still an important question as well. How do good teams keep losing to the Houston Rockets?
The one of the few teams that is actually tanking this season. Man.
This is getting in the way of our tank for the number one pick.
Guys, you got to start losing games. Stop winning them. Man, I don't know what it is. Part of it, I think, was they recently just beat Phoenix, who also lost back-to-back games against the Pelicans.
Dude.
Didn't like that choking.
Dude. In the last, 6 games, us Houston Rockets, we've beaten the Suns twice, we've beaten the Bucks once, and we've beaten the Philadelphia 76ers. What's going on? These are supposed... Guys, these are supposed to be freebies. How... We're not supposed to be winning these. Like, you top teams, like, I think the Bucks pretty much rested everyone important, just as a slight...
Yeah.
No! This is the one where we kept Giannis to 16 points!
Oh, yep, actually, that's right. Yeah, I was just looking that up.
When was the last time you saw Giannis get held to 16 points?
That's pretty crazy. Because, Giannis is going to get his numbers most games. But wow, that's crazy. Yeah, 7 from 17 from the field.
Jabari Smith Jr., my boy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just kind of the young guys just balling. Jalen Green, I think, had 30 against the Bucks, and he had about 20 something against the Suns, but 26 against the Suns. So he's just been playing well. Not the best from 3-point, but getting free throws at least. I don't know, man. Like, I think just maybe those top teams have a cold night. But when it happens multiple times in a row, I mean, you guys beat the Suns twice.
What is going on? It's like, look at Giannis's last couple of games. 30 points, 28, 35, 34, 40, 16. Against Houston!
Honestly, I'm kind of dumbfounded. I'm trying to think of, like, an explanation. Because it's not like the Rockets are crazily good defensively inside to stop Giannis, unless they're just building a wall.
Bruh.
Man.
Jabari Smith, bro. That man has a wingspan.
Yeah. I mean, he's, 6'11", got like a 7-something wingspan. He's showing promise.
How do you know he's 6'11", just off the top?
I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yeah, he's 6'11", yeah. I don't know. Maybe just from draft. I don't remember.
I swear, I've said this before, but I need to monotonize your knowledge of useless facts.
Random numbers. Speaking of useless facts, the Rockets are actually 4th in the league for rebounding, which, I mean, maybe that's the testament to their size. They've got some bigs, maybe that locked down Giannis. Although Giannis did get like 18 rebounds in the game, so, man, I don't know. The Rockets are just surprising us all.
That is, look, I think this team is starting to come through. Like, Jalen Green, this is his 3rd year now, I want to say. Is it 3rd or 2nd?
Jalen Green, this is only his second year.
So,
yeah.
But he's had a season in and he's starting to look a lot better. We've got, there's just a lot of really, like, Kevin Porter Jr. is playing, like, has always had a lot of potential, just a bit troubled up in, was he Chicago where he was troubled, or was he Cavaliers?
He was on the Cavs, I recall.
Yes, so he was troubled up there, came down here and has looked pretty good. Obviously, we've got Jabari Smith Jr. There's a lot of... Oh, where's my fave? How do I... Sengun, the Turkish superstar.
Yeah. Honestly, he's actually looking great. I, to be honest, didn't expect a ton from him coming in. I'm like, oh yeah, they got a decent big. But no, he's playing great. He's almost averaging a double-double at the moment. So
yeah, no, he's also like, hasn't been getting like a full, like when he plays in Europe, he's like the point center, the point power forward. Like he's really, really good at being like the setup big, but he doesn't get to show that off a lot in the Rockets, unfortunately, because you've already got two really ball dominant people in Green and I was just talking about him, Kevin Porter Jr., but we haven't seen his full potential.
You do see flashes, though. You can tell that this guy is good at moving the ball, because he does get the occasional, like, really clever backdoor pass, or he'll get, like, a good assist here and there. But, yeah, like you said, he's not running the offense because they've got a lot of ball-heavy players.
But you should watch him in Europe. He gets a lot more free reign in Europe, and, gosh, he's good.
Yeah. I think the only thing I can think of that might be making them just win all these games is that they have Boban Marjanovic, the absolute best player in the league. I love Ruby.
Boban!
I'm sad he left the Mavs, but yeah.
Look,
other than that, like you said, I think they've
cut
got a young team built. Yeah, that's true. Good to see him still in the league. But yeah, these youngsters are getting reps. It's good to see them getting some wins, because there's only so many losses you can have before it starts to get bad. So.
And look, we're at the end of the day, we're still second last in the look. We're only one loss behind. We're only half a game in front of the San Antonio Spurs, so it's not that bad that we're winning a couple.
But I mean, yeah, shout out Houston though, because honestly, the talent developing there is looking good. So hopefully, a nice fresh start for them.
Okay, it's hot sauce time.
So hot, alucinante, como el picante. It's Harry's hot sauce.
Anyway, so Ben, how many years have we been watching NBA together now? Like 3 or 4 years now, I think.
Yeah, probably at least that.
Gosh,
yeah, probably about 4 now.
Time is swings by. However, you've been watching NBA a lot longer than I have, probably about double the time, if not a bit more than me.
Yeah,
so
2011.
So this year, a couple of games ago, the Pelicans. We'll start the Pelicans first. After that massive game, it was huge. The crowd was going wild. Pelicans end up winning the game, I think, by like a good 10 points, 10, 15.
Yeah, I think they blew out the Suns by at least 10, 15, 20
but
even.
At the end, in the last play of the game, Zion hit a beautiful windmill dunk that just sent the whole stadium, and the world. This was a world domination move right here. The world went off. It was a great dunk. I felt like it really put an exclamation point on that game and like how hard the Pelicans have been working. Obviously, the Suns didn't like that. Now, explain to me, Ben, this whole like unwritten rule of like if you're winning with 30 seconds to go by a huge margin that you just run the clock out. Explain this to me.
Look, I guess, yeah, coming from basketball like background and stuff like that, it's just a given. It's like, of course, that's how it goes. If you're up by an amount where the points aren't going to make a difference, then there's no point making a bucket on the last possession, because even you'll see the players like walk back on defense on the last possession. They're not even trying to defend. They know that the game's over. But taking a step back and actually thinking about it, I guess it is kind of weird, because there aren't too many sports that do that. There are a few unwritten rules, like baseball will have a few, like you don't just take a cheap shot at this point, or blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Like even playing, when we're playing and stuff, if we're down, come to the last possession, and someone tries to be fancy, like cross someone over, chuck a deep three or whatever, like, I don't know. It just seems a little off, so I can kind of see where the players come from. But like, I don't know. It is a weird one, taking a step back and looking at it.
But like, we don't just stop playing defense, though.
No, like, we'll still be there on D, I guess, yeah. Whereas if you look at the league, like, yeah, they'll be walking back, they'll be like shaking hands. You even get that classic one where, like, I think it was probably about 7 or 8 years ago now, I think it was Caron Butler went up to shake someone's hand at the end and then steals the ball from him as he's shaking hands for a cheap layup, like just to pad his stats. But
so funny.
But yeah, it's just like really frowned upon. I guess it's just not okay to do.
So obviously there's a big, huge kerfuffle at the end of the game, and the Suns were feeling really disrespected and made a big fuss about it. And then So look, I get it, and like it happens in our games, but I feel like in NBA, I don't know. I do give different expectations to NBA players, and the way they just completely stop. Like, isn't it almost disrespectful to stop playing defense? Like to give up, like to not finish it to the very end.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's really odd. It's just because everyone is on the same page. Well, generally, they're on the same page, and that everyone stops. If there wasn't this, like, unspoken rule or whatever, you would expect them to keep playing, right? Like, the clock's still going. It's a time-based sport. The clock's still going. You keep playing, right? So, I don't know. I think it'd be more entertaining, probably, if they didn't just stop in the last 10 seconds and actually played it out. It'd be great for people's stats, because that could be that extra point, extra rebound, whatever, to get their double-double or something. So they should really play it to the end of the clock, which I guess they only do in a close game. But yeah, when it's a blowout, they just stop.
Or is Phoenix just salty that they got beaten by the Pelicans by like 10 points?
Look, I think there are two parts to it. Like, Zion dunking was bad enough. The extent of his dunk, it was filthy. Like, it was probably too far. But I think the second part to it is the Suns were salty because they had that playoff series last playoffs. I think the Pelicans as well were really fired up for this game. I think they had something to prove.
They got eliminated by those guys last year, so of course
exactly. So it's kind of like their revenge game, yeah. So they're looking to pretty much destroy these guys. So no wonder Zion went for it. I honestly don't blame him. Like while I kind of abide by that unspoken rule, if I was him, I'd go for it. Rub it in their faces. You just dominated them. Payback time. Dunk on them.
100%. Did you see the Gobert dunk on the Jazz?
Oh, actually, I can't remember. It does ring a bell, but I'm not sure if I remember that one.
So basically, what happened is it was like the last play. The Timberwolves were up by a bit. It was over. Anyway. Yeah. The Jazz start playing really tight defense on the last play, and like the guy was up the corner trying to run the clock out. So they started playing really tight defense. The guy passes it to someone in the corner, and then the Jazz just stop. And then you see Gobert in the middle of the paint go, pass it here, and the guy like looks for a second, is like, you could see him be like, nah, and then he's like, oh crap, Gobert's calling for it. So he throws it to Gobert. No one's on Gobert, and Gobert slams it down. And doesn't give a crap, and everyone was like ooh, and then there was a big kerfuffle, and maybe you should try and Google the play quickly. I'll just prattle on about something while you do it. But look, it's the same thing, but like you know what, I think that it was kind of fair because they were playing tight defense initially. At the beginning of the play, they were going like man to man, like they were really trying to like steal the ball. They weren't just going to let the clock run out. But then the moment he passes the ball, they're like, okay, it's over for whatever reason. So I feel like for Gobert, and he does look, Gobert, I'm a fan of Mr. Gobert, the Eiffel Tower, the COVID spreader, but I feel like he has quite thin skin, and I don't think it was like an FU to the Jazz, but I think it was more of a like, I am valuable sort of thing.
Yeah, he's kind of like showing off his glow up. He's like, I'm in a new place now. They respect me here. So like, I think if it was any other team, he probably wouldn't have taken that last shot with like 2 seconds on the clock. I think because it was the Jazz, he went for it. But to be fair, the Jazz were like locking them up on D. Like they were going for the steal, and it's because they overcommitted to the steal that they left him open, and then he just gets the easy dunk. But I think it's a bit of a grudge thing.
Yeah. So is that disrespectful? And then I have another question. I have one more. Is this disrespectful? So a couple of weeks ago, now I've been sitting on this one for a while. It actually linked in quite well to this topic. The Golden State Warriors were playing the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves got wrecked. Absolutely wrecked, right? And I think the Timberwolves might have been playing their normal players, but the Golden State at that point were playing their bench warmers, right? And Draymond Green and Steph Curry, both of them got technical fouls off the bench for excessive celebration when people scored. There was one point where Draymond Green ran onto like one of the corners of the court and was like, yeah. And then Steph like ran up the dead ball line and then came out like near, like underneath the hoop celebrating. Like he was daring the refs to give him a tech. So they did. Is that to be so far ahead and to be able to afford to give away techs like that? Is that disrespectful?
Look, okay. That I think is disrespectful, because I think there are two parts to this as well. So it's like, is it disrespectful? But then like, do I still want to see it? There are two parts, because against like a random team, if you got no beef, you're up by a ton. That I think that's just plain disrespectful. Like, no point celebrating or like getting that last minute like alley-oop dunk or whatever against a team you got no beef against. Like that's just unnecessary. But if it's a team like you got history with, I'm all for it. It probably makes it even more disrespectful, but I'm for it in that situation because like there's some history to it.
Do the Golden State and the Timberwolves have history?
I mean, not really. That's why I think that one is just plain disrespectful. Yeah. Yeah. Especially coming from the Warriors, like.
so yeah, no, I thought that it lowered my opinion of Stephen Curry just a tiny smidge, to be quite honest with you. Because Draymond,
if it was the Pat Bev Timberwolves, then sure, because they had plenty of shenanigans, but yeah, otherwise that's just a bit silly.
I expect those kind of shenanigans from Draymond Green, but when Steph Curry did something like that, and I think he was just doing it to be in solidarity with Green, because I think the one they gave on Green was a little bit of a reach. I don't think he was that bad. Steph just went out straight away, like later just did it completely on purpose. You could see that he was trying to do it, and I do think like a tiny bit less of him because of it. I would be honest, just a tiny bit. Like, he's a great player and he's competitive, but I think it's completely disrespectful.
It is disrespectful, but
give away techs.
That's kind of Curry, though. I think Curry, this is almost a mini hot take. I think he's one of the most disrespectful players in the league, but the reason he gets away with it is because he's just so unbelievably talented.
How?
Like, he'll hit like the just most ridiculous shot, and then he's always cocky, but in like a charming way. There's a difference between that and just plain cocky. He does it in such a way where you're just like, okay, I gotta respect that. That was insane. I'd be celebrating like that too. But he honestly, he just gets away with so much. I think people forget how I guess borderline cocky. Even his interview with JJ, he admitted it. He's like, yeah, like in the heat of the moment, I do like so much stuff. Like, you celebrate his shimmies, like everything.
But I feel like if you hit big points, like like everyone taunts like that. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think that's. I see that
if you made the shot to back it up, then that's fair. But like off the bench, I suppose it's a bit different because like you didn't do it. You're just like flexing on the opponents for something else. So yeah. Like
I'm all about supporting your teammates, like, and like if the bench people are having a great game and Curry and Draymond are like all behind that, I'm all for it. Yeah. I just think giving away techs from the bench when you're that by that much is major disrespect. So let's run through the list. So getting a tech when you're on the bench when you're winning by like 30, disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
Gobert getting an open dunk because the Jazz overcommitted on defense. But then I swear they kind of stopped once he passed the ball. But what do we think? Disrespectful or not?
Borderline disrespectful. I can see why he did it because of the history with the other team. But no, he was doing it for a reaction. You saw his face after. He was like, yeah.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Gobert, talk your talk your sheding-dings. I gotta keep it clean, yo. And what about the Pelicans and the Suns?
Oh, disrespectful, but in the best way. That was such a good dunk.
And I'm gonna go up there and be like, Zion, talk smack, bro. Put them in. put those Phoenix Suns in their place. They are disappointing me so much.
Send them into orbit.
Well, you heard it here first. Make sure if you're up by 50 that you always disrespectfully or put in your place your enemies with a windmill dunk, just like Zion.
Yeah, if you can windmill, you got to pull it out for that.
This has been episode 34 of the Hoopinions podcast. Please follow us on TikTok. not Facebook, but Instagram and YouTube and on Spotify. Give us a like, give us a share. We'd like to hear from you if you're listening to the podcast, and what are your thoughts on all the things we've talked about today. And please watch and follow. I need to make something off this podcast so I can get into endurance racing. So give us a like and a follow.
And stay tuned for more.
Yeah. We out. Peace.
See ya.